Section 2 is going to take us back to factoring, and factoring is that basic bread and butter skill of algebra. You must be able to factor to be successful in later algebra courses. It's a backbone skill. So we will quickly review. The number one thing you always look for, no matter how big, complicated, scary your factoring looks, your monomial, binomial, trinomial, however many terms, always look for greatest common factor. What do any of them have in common? And that is variables and coefficients. So first step, take out greatest common factors. Now we are dealing with expressions, so nothing disappears. They must always be accounted and present, otherwise you won't have the exact same value. You'll change the value of your expression, which you don't want to do. So when I look at these, there aren't any coefficient pieces in common, but if there are 3 x's here and 4 x's here, that means they have 3 of them in common. And when we say take out a common factor, we really are talking about division. Okay, taking out a greatest common factor is undoing the distributive property, if you want to think about it that way. So when you get done, if you take a quick check of the distributive property, you should end up with exactly your original. So if I take out 3 x's from x to the 4th, negative x to the 4th, I have negative x left. If I divide 2x cubed by x cubed, I have 2 left. And that is your answer, because negative x and 2 don't have anything in common. If you take a quick check of your distributive, you'll end up right back where you started, and then you know you did it correctly. So, sorry, that was number 2 in your homework. If we jump down to number 10 in our homework, we're going to factor by grouping, and this is a very important step because it helps us get to some of the later. So if we have 4 terms, so step 1, greatest common factor of all 4, step 2 is to group. Now if I look at 24, 8, 15, and 5, nothing in common. Mn, M, Xn, Xm, nothing in common in all 4. So now I'm going to group the first 2 terms, and I'm group the second 2 terms. Notice I don't lose that plus sign. Once I've grouped this, now I look for a greatest common factor in that first pair. So between 24 and 8, my greatest common factor is 8. Between Mn and M squared, I have an M. That's the same. When I divide 24 by 8, I'm left with 3. Mn divided by M leaves an N. 8 divided by 8 is 1. M squared divided by M is M. That plus sign stays. Now I'm looking for the greatest common factor of that pair, which is 5x. That's what they have in common. If I divide 15xn by 5x, I'm left with 3n. 5xm divided by 5x is m. And this is exactly what I want to have happen, because now this quantity right here and this quantity are exactly the same. Anything in a quantity is a single number, so that means that is a greatest common factor. So I'm going to take that out, and it will come out front. And when I take it out of here, I'm left with 8m plus 5x. Again, if you FOILed this, first, outer, inner, last, you'll get back to the original. That would be how you would check. To check it, use FOIL. So this factoring and foiling are opposite operations, thinking about undoing each other.